Well, Tiger fans, thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you in the studio as we take a look at Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball. We start with the women's program, the third-ranked team in the country at home this past weekend, on the road this coming week. And the assistant coach of the Lady Tigers, Miranda Denney, joins me here on Tiger Timeout. Coach, first appearance of the season. Late notice, I think you got tagged in, but here you are ready for action.
This is what a good assistant does. You need to just go wherever you're called to go. So,
Coach, and you have been running practice now. These gals are out of school, so you've kind of got this frenzied approach a little bit. Schedules are thrown off now. They've got all the time in the world to focus on basketball, but it was an early morning this morning, and I'm sure they're getting ready for this upcoming weekend.
We are. We got a busy weekend and then turn right around and head out to Phoenix for a week, which we're excited about, play some games out there. So out of classes, but still have a lot going on and a lot to prepare for, so it's been a busy week.
And before we look too far ahead, let's rewind just a little bit. The long layoff, you get to Kingsport, a couple of wins down there, and then you get back to the Powell Center. And your games at home have been really sporadic. You had almost a month between games, and you'll have another month between games playing at home. But talk to me about the win over Carolina. Tight early, you guys were able to pull away, find your footing offensively, and run off and hide from the Bruins. But just being back at home and how good that feels.
Yeah, it's always great to get home in the POW. We knew Carolina would be a really athletic team and present some challenges for us with their athleticism and just how quick they were. But as young as we are and as inexperienced as we are and as little as we've played, just super pleased with the effort that we're getting right now. And counting on a lot of freshmen to step up and play big minutes, and they are playing good minutes for us. And so, like I say, to be home, to play as little as we've played, and to execute the way I thought we played very well.
And talking about some of the numbers from that win over Carolina, you know, the big performance was Tyra Flowers, 15 points, 15 rebounds, I think 4 blocks, another Conference Defensive Player of the Week award in the 90-59 win. Lauren Lee had 14 and 9, Hallie Allen 14 and 6, and a couple of other Lady Tigers in double figures as well, Coach. But let's touch on Tyra Flowers and what we're starting to see. You're seeing a young lady that's really figuring some stuff out, right? And that's not to say that she didn't know before, but now it's kind of her time. Last year, fitting in. This year, she's a big part of this puzzle.
Right. We don't need her to fit in this year. We need her to stand out, and that's exactly what she's doing. When you come into a program as a transfer, it's hard to get your footing, and it takes a little while to figure it out. Couple that with you're playing behind Caitlin Wilkes, Kayla Luby, Courtney Pritchett, some of the best posts we've had to come through the program. So not that she had to wait her turn, but she did a little bit. And this year, like I say, she's had a year to learn, to develop, to watch some of the best. And she's proven that she's one of the best as well.
And speaking of one of the best, Lauren Lee, 14 and 9. And at this point, it's kind of you just put a quarter in and watch her go to work. Whatever you need on a given night, she's going to find a way to do it. If you need 30, 31 points, she'll do that. She can also hand out double-digit assists whenever the time calls for it. And by the way, she's probably your smartest player, the valedictorian at the point guard spot. It's a good problem to have there.
She's incredible. As far as point guards go, she's high on the list to ever come through this program. She can do it any way you need her to do it. Like you say, she's been scoring 30 a game, but the last game she distributed. She had 9 assists. We were hoping she'd get the 10th there, but she just does everything, and she's an extension of us on the floor. So there's so many things that we don't have to worry about because Lauren takes care of it. And she's just phenomenal on the floor, off the floor. She's top notch.
She's also the JV coach, for those that didn't realize that. Lauren doubles as the junior varsity coach. So maybe she has an understanding of what you and Ginger are asking for.
I think she feels our pain now,
more,
yes. I think she has a deeper appreciation. So.
And we talked about Tyra trying to fit in last year, wait your turn. Paige Serafini, some others, Maddie Nally, have done that. But that freshman group, they've really not had to wait, and that's been a rarity for you guys that a freshman comes in and play. You can go back to Courtney, who started her first game, and everyone from that point forward. But Talon Shear, Hallie Allen, Dia Bradley are getting some critical minutes, and we saw more Bella Stiles this past week as well. This freshman group, they stepped into a great opportunity, and kudos to them for taking the reins and running with it.
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge gap that we knew needed to be filled. And we felt like this freshman class had the potential to do it, but you just never know. The college game is different, and adjusting to college life in general is different. So you never know how freshmen are going to come in and respond. But these three, and Bella as well, I don't want to leave her out, just have been phenomenal. In practices, they jump in, they work as hard as anybody, and they've just been here from day one. And that's a tough role to fill. The number 3 ranked team in the nation, there's a lot of pressure on that. There's a lot to learn, but like I say, they've jumped in head first and could not be more pleased with what they've given us so far.
And your schedule, I know at times I don't think you've enjoyed it or the way it's been spread out, but it's also presented opportunities to really, they got to see several games out of the gate, and now we get to slow it down and kind of cover it. We got 3 weeks to work on it. How impactful was that time to kind of focus on those 3, especially in Bella as well?
In a normal season, I wouldn't have loved the way it worked out, and it wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong, but playing some games, seeing your weaknesses, and then having 3 weeks to work on that. Practice time is invaluable to us right now. So that 3 weeks of practice, it was a blessing in disguise probably, and gave us a lot of things to work on. And like I say, we're still a work in progress, right, but we're getting there.
The Lady Tigers will continue to get there this weekend as they travel to the bigger sports center in Columbia, Kentucky. We'll step away, take a break here, come back and visit with Miranda Denney on their upcoming matchup. Stay with us on Tiger Timeout.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton visiting with the assistant coach for the Lady Tigers, Miranda Denney, as they get set to hit the road to Columbia, Kentucky. A short road trip for CU this weekend as they'll take on Oakland City and Shawnee State in a pair of non-conference games in the Classic at Lindsey Wilson College. And coaches, a lot of teams are winding down their holiday schedule, their first semester schedule, classes have ended and all of that. You guys are kind of picking up. You've got 7 games in the books, a perfect 7-0, but 4 left before we get to the Christmas break for the Lady Tigers, 2 in Columbia, 2 in Phoenix. It's going to get busy, as you alluded to in the first segment.
It is. This is a busy 2 weeks and 4 really good teams. Having watched them on film, we've got our hands full for the next 4 games, but that's good. Get a challenge.
And Oakland City's a team that somewhat familiar with. Go back a few years, you've at least seen some of the pieces. They've got a really good guard that can score the basketball. Talk to me about this matchup. Back-to-back games against Coach Hawkins. You had Kamir Hawkins for Carolina, and then Fakar Hawkins for Oakland City. But talk to me about this matchup with the Mighty Oaks.
Like you say, a little bit of familiarity. We played them in the opening round of the NAIA tournament 2 years ago. Really good guard play. Their leading scorer is a really good shooter. We know her because she played during that opening round. But just very balanced, shoot it well, and play a lot of zone. So something we don't see necessarily a lot of. So we've been running through some of our zone stuff this week, trying to get prepared for that. But very athletic, and again, present a really good challenge for us.
And, seeing that zone, and these are the things that help when you get later on down the road. What are some of the conversations, though, with the freshmen that we talked about? This is a new look. We've not really seen much of this. It's probably going to look a little different than those in high school. They're going to cover more ground, all of that stuff. What are some of those conversations like?
Yeah, it's kind of just a mentality. When somebody plays zone, you think you're going to shoot a lot of threes, which is great if you're making them. But we really tried to emphasize this week getting the ball inside and finding gaps. And again, in high school, it's more of just stand, pass it around, and take your first open shot. And we really want to get it inside first to create a shot from the outside. So finding gaps and getting the ball inside has been a real focus this week.
And in my time here, Campbellsville University, Shawnee State has probably been the biggest thorn in the side for Campbellsville's Lady Tigers program. There have been some absolute classics between the two, and things have changed. No longer a conference foe. Dwayne Burrows took over for Jeff Nickel, but again, it's a Shawnee State team that you have seen over the last few years as they left the league, and it's one that's had a really good start to the season as well.
Yeah, they're a very solid team. I think it'll be a tough matchup for us. They're just athletic. They're big at all positions, and they play very, very hard. Again, a zone. Theirs is a little different. It's a matchup zone, but any of the 5 can jump out and guard you at any different spot. So defensively, they present a little bit of a problem for us.
And, you know, Marnay Holland had a great career there. Her sister, Markayla, was a freshman that last year that they were in league, and you continue to see her get better. Reminds me a lot of her sister. No surprise there, I don't suppose, but she's a really talented player you'll have to keep up with.
She is. She's long, super long. Defensively, creates a lot of havoc. And then offensively, if she gets in the paint, she can really, really score it. She'll shoot it from the outside, but if you let her get into the paint, she's got the ability to do some damage.
And this is our last show before the Christmas holiday, so let's look ahead at Montana Tech and Carroll. Carroll obviously highly ranked to begin the season. They stumbled a bit out of the gate, but you know that they're obviously capable of beating anyone on any given night. And Montana Tech's had a really good start to their season. A couple of frontier schools await in Arizona.
Yep, I haven't seen as much Carroll yet, but I know they're super solid. They play super hard, and they're very well coached. So there'll be no pushover for sure. And then Montana Tech, tall. They're all probably 5'9", 5'10" across the board, have a really good post, but like I say, they're all the same size. They all kind of do the same thing, tough, physical. I think both games out there will be very physical, and we'll definitely have our hands full.
A little different than going to Puerto Rico, staying stateside. Yeah. Things are a little cleaner, a little easier, maybe a few less headaches, I hope, for you guys on this trip.
Yes, we promised Lauren Lee, because in her time here, we've gone to the beach for our Christmas trips. We've fundraised to go to the beach, and for her last year, she's not a beach person, so we're taking her to the desert, but it doesn't classify as beach, so she's happy.
Well, last year, and I've told the story a few times, you take off to the mall in Florida, and the only question Lauren asked, was there a bookstore? I'm not sure how many other Lady Tigers over your 17 years have asked, is there a bookstore?
Yes, that would be zero.
She's a different animal. There's a fun one tonight. I want to touch on it. Dort, number 1 in the country, goes to Briar Cliff, top 15. That's in Sioux City. You obviously hope to head that way in March, but that's a fun one. I love to watch, keep up with those top 25 matchups. That's a good one this evening.
That will be a great one. Dort is so solid, but that league is tough. I mean, they face a lot of stiff competition out there, a lot like the Mid-South. So there's opportunities to trip up out there. But, yeah, that'll be a great game, and, again, a super great league.
And I actually forget, Briarcliff had lost to number 11, I think, was that Dakota State or Wesleyan maybe, then beat number 5 Concordia. So within 4 games, they're playing, I think, number 11, number 5, and number 1. So it reminds you of some of the Mid-South stuff from years gone by. Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
The Lady Tigers in action Friday evening, 6 o'clock the start time with Oakland City in the bigger sports center. And then on Saturday, it's a 1 o'clock start against Shawnee State. I'll have the call of both games on 88.7 The Tiger. We'll step away, take a break, come back and visit with the head coach of the Tigers, Brent Vernon, here on Tiger Timeout.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Tiger Timeout continues here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton in the studio now with Brent Vernon, the head coach of the Tigers, joins us. Campbellsville amidst a hiatus here as they have Midway coming up this weekend, the week off for the Tigers as they try to get Cam Vick back into action and work on themselves, Coach. That's often a conversation, a line that you use in conversation is we're working on ourselves, and you've had some time. It was a gauntlet start to your schedule from late October through the 1st of December there. Get a little bit of time to kind of regroup, rally the troops, incorporate Cam. Talk to me about the last week or so. How have things gone for you guys?
Yeah, it's been good for us. It's been tough from a standpoint of you're used to playing games and now you're not. We had finals week last week, so we had such a daunting schedule for so long. We took Monday and Tuesday off. We sort of regrouped, actually took Monday off. Tuesday was a light day, but we did get in the gym. Practiced the rest of the week, got in there this weekend some, and we've been going back full throttle, and we've had some good days. It's that time where they're anxious to play again, but it's also that time where they also know we play Friday, Tuesday, and then we have a little bit of another break with Christmas, and that's a good thing too. We have to make sure we take care of business and get through these two games, but we've had a good week where we're working on incorporating Cam some, and throughout the entire first semester, he was always on the second team. He's always playing with different guys, so we're having to incorporate and put him with some different lineups just so some guys can get used to playing with him. And again, he's not going to be the savior. It's going to bring another dimension to our team that we really like, but it's going to take time as we work through it.
The line, working on ourselves, over the last week, that's easy to do when you don't have an opponent for 2 weeks. That's a lot easier to do than it is when you know you've just got 4 or 5 days. What does working on ourselves look like day in and day out in a period?
Yeah,
like this?
well, when we go back to Oakland City, again, we talked about the thing we went with, who are we going to be? And I thought that game, especially in the second half, was a great first step of who we're going to be. Our attention to detail was good. Our involvement, engagement from the guys on the floor, guys on the bench were good. I thought it was a great first step in improving where we had been. So it's just, we're trying to get consistency. We're trying to sustain better in longer periods of time. We've had, James Jewell's been out practicing. We finally got him back for a day. Hopefully he'll be able to maybe give us some minutes on Friday. I definitely expect by Tuesday. But, you still only got 11 guys with him and Tache out. So you're doing a lot of live action. And whenever you play with your 11 guys, you don't have but one sub. So fatigue is there. So we're working on conditioning, just a lot of different things, shoring up our defense, because that's where I think for us to be the best team we can be, we have to be better defensively. We've scored quite a few points this year, and I think offense has a chance to become easier to score with Cam, but we have to be better defensively, so we've worked on some things there. We've added 1 or 2 things to maybe throw at some teams, and like I said, we're just trying to become a better version of ourselves.
Is this a point, talking about that, you kind of, not reset or start over by any stretch, but gives you an opportunity now, a couple of weeks off, you can really throw some things at Midway and IU Southeast especially that they might not have even seen yet.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll throw too much new at them, but, excuse me, it was definitely a restart. Not a full restart, but we had to get back to some things that all of our games, Tuesday, Friday, you have very limited practice time. You take a day off after a Tuesday game, then you practice on a Wednesday hard to get ready for Friday, and then Thursday's more of a prep day. So you really never got to break down and work on your deficiencies. So that's what we really worked on. We've changed some ball screen stuff defensively. We've added some stuff defensively. We've changed 1 or 2 things offensively. Is it going to work? You really don't know till you play another opponent, but I do think we have some things that if we continue to trust it and go through it, it's going to help our team all the way around.
Midway comes to the Powell Center 3 o'clock on Friday. That's the first half of what will kind of work out like a doubleheader on radio, as the Lady Tigers will be in action at Lindsey Wilson College later. But it's a Midway team. Akeem Scott has been there a few years. You're familiar with him. You saw him his time at KCU. Jalen Sincor, a name from Shawnee State that, talk to me about getting ready for the Midway Eagles on Friday.
It's different. They play really fast. Akeem's teams, Coach Scott, they've always been a team that has played fast, score about 88 a game, so it's going to test some of the things that we've been working on. We had Cam Vick out first semester. Our finals were last week. We know he's going to be available for Friday. You look at Midway's team, they're small, they're fast, they're scoring in bunches. They've got 5 guys out right now. Jalen Sinclair hasn't played a play yet. Daylon Tankersley, who was at Life 3 years ago, hasn't played a play yet. They've got a freshman down at Knox Central who's not played a play yet. Finals for them, I think, in today. Will they certify? We don't know. They play a game tonight. So we'll be able to see with their game against Rio if they throw any new bodies out. But it doesn't mean if they don't that they won't be there Friday. So we're going to scout as if they're not playing, but we're going to know who those guys are and then see. It's a lot like the first game of the season when you get to that second semester, and that's sort of where we're at right now.
And, you know, working in one is one thing. Working in potentially 3 or 4, that's a whole different ball of wax. But we'll step away here. We'll take a break, come back. The Tigers also play IU Southeast before the Christmas holiday, and then straight out of the break, they'll take to the road to Reinhardt. We'll cover those games with Coach here on Tiger Timeout.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I was depressed in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Closeout segment on this week's edition of Tiger Timeout. Matt Payton with you in the studios here at Campbellsville University as we take a look ahead for the Tigers. Brent Vernon still with me here. Campbellsville has the Friday afternoon matchup with Midway, and then they host Indiana University Southeast in a return meeting. They played down in Cumberland's earlier this season. And Coach, that game originally scheduled at 3 o'clock, and we were talking, the Grenadiers are still in finals next week, so Coach Brown requested to slide that back a little bit so it'll look a little differently on the schedule, 6 o'clock start time, but I know that's one your gang probably eager to get to and, you know, hopefully redeem themselves, I guess.
Yeah, that was a game that, again, it's sort of been what we've talked about, the story of our season so far. We played just okay, not quite well enough, got late, had a lot of opportunities. Attention to detail, a few turnovers late, just not the right decisions, led to Southeast coming out with a win. And again, they played extremely well that game. They shot the ball well. It was something they hadn't shot it real well going into it, and that's something that happens to us quite a bit, but that's on us, and we have to be a better defensive team. So I think we are. We're very eager to get back because we feel like we're a better team than what we showed that day. And I think those are opportunities for us to be able to prove ourselves.
And then you can't help but to remember that Southeast at home, the game that Cam Vick got hurt last year. So I'm sure there's a little bit of Cam Vick that he's looking forward to that one. He's got to. Yeah, no doubt. I'm going to say, and it was a very fluke accident, but it's one where obviously last year Cam had started the year off really well, was playing good that particular game, and just landed very awkwardly. So he probably is very excited for that. And again, we're excited for every day of competition we can have right now because we do feel like we've not achieved
the success that we feel like we should have early on. And I think our guys are hungry to go out there and really change the narrative of where we're at.
What does the Christmas holiday look like for the Tigers? I know you've got an extended break, the 17th to January the 1st when you go to Reinhardt. Yeah. So you've got some time there, but you don't want to leave them away too long.
Yeah, it's really a hard thing to juggle. Obviously, you want to let them get some time at home, but you know if you do that they're going to lose some of that conditioning or all of that conditioning. So we play on the 17th. After that, the guys will be free, so they're going to get a week. We'll return on December 26th. And we'll get straight back to work. But that's a little, it's good. It's going to give us 5 or 6 days to prepare mentally, physically for Reinhardt. And then we'll head on the road and play a very good team out of the Appalachian Conference, probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams. It'll be a good test for us to play a true road game and go down there and try to get momentum and keep momentum as we head into conference.
Yeah, I mean, you're running out of non-conference games. You are slowly creeping up to the point we get to the next time that you and I sit here, we will be on the doorstep of Cumberland's visiting the Powell Center. So, you know, you're kind of right there, even though you've got a month or so before that happens. But let's talk about the Reinhardt matchup. It's a team out of the AAC, as you mentioned, and I think Campbellsville folks are familiar with them from their time from football and different stuff. So it's a name that we've heard often. The Lady Tigers saw them in Kingsport. Talk to me about this men's program and what you expect down there.
Coach does a really good job. They're athletic. They're fast. They play fast. They're going to press. They're going to run and jump and do some things. They like to shoot threes and really get going in transition. So, again, I think anytime you go on the road out of conference, it's difficult. In conference on the road is difficult, obviously, but, you know, you get officials that you're not familiar with. You know, I don't know if in my time here, we have played at Reinhardt, but we played live. It's one of my first years as a head coach. We went down there and played. I think it was Hagen Tyler's senior year. But we've not played Reinhardt in my time as being a head coach. So it'll be a challenge of not really being familiar with their team. So we'll have to have a good scout, and our guys have to be ready. And again, those first games after the break are always tough because you're focusing on detail, but you know conditioning isn't quite where it needs to be. So there's a lot of intangibles in that. But I think by that time, you know, we've played so many games in November, so few in December. Guys are going to be hungry and eager to get going.
You know, and I talked with this, Miranda Denney joined us earlier, and the freshmen that they've tried to bring in, your schedule out of the gate was really kind of hectic and chaotic, but now you have time to play a little bit, rest a little bit, have the break, but you're also incorporating a big piece in Cam Vick. So from that standpoint, it probably worked out well to give you the space to do that now, 3 games.
I think it really did. Now, we actually at one time had a game scheduled around December 5th, early in the summer, and something happened where that game got changed. And, you know, that's something that me and, Mark talked about in detail was, do we try to find a game, or with how our semester ends, is it best to just leave that break, which is tough to do with 12 days because of Cam Vick? And we thought it was best to do that. So that's actually where the Reinhardt game got added. And we thought it would be good because we needed as many games as we could from that time to get Cam acclimated and back in the groove of things. And, 3 games prior to conference, he'll get another 4th non-conference game in the middle of conference. But, not only for our team, but for him, we wanted him to get as many games as he could, and I think it'll help all parties out.
Coach, we'll catch up officially after the break. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, and have a good Christmas.
You as well. The Tigers take on Midway Friday afternoon in the Powell Center. That is a 3 o'clock start time. I'll head over to Columbia, Kentucky as the Lady Tigers battle Oakland City at 6 p.m. Friday evening, and then Saturday, Campbellsville's Women's Club in action at 1 o'clock on 88.7 The Tiger. For Miranda Denney and Brent Vernon, I'm Matt Payton, wishing you a Merry Christmas. We'll see you after the new year here on Tiger Timeout.